Bombay, the 12th of January, 1925. A car climbs Malabar Hill in the evening dark. Then another car, a red Maxwell, cuts it off. Men pour out. Pistols, knives. They are not here for the man at the wheel. They are here for the woman beside him. But before they can drag her away, 4 British officers come running, straight out of an evening at the golf club. They have no guns. They charge the knives with golf clubs. One of them is shot and stabbed and still does not let go. By the time it is over, one of the richest men in Bombay is dying in the street. And the trail from his murder will lead to a palace and bring down a king who was never even charged. This is the Bawla Murder, and this is what one king's power could and could not buy. 300 miles away sat the man at the center of it all, Tukojirao Holkar III, Maharaja of Indore. He had inherited one of the wealthiest princely states in India, and he spent like it. In 1913, he walked into the Paris jeweler Chaumet and bought 2 enormous pear-shaped diamonds, the Indore pears. Across his reign, he is said to have collected some 1,200 pieces of jewelry. He could buy almost anything, and he was used to keeping whatever he owned. Among the things he treasured most was a dancer named Mumtaz Begum. She had been brought to his court as a girl, first to sing and then to stay. For nearly a decade, she was his favorite, the most prized possession in a palace full of them. But a favorite is still a possession, and Mumtaz wanted to be a person. Then something broke her. Accounts say she endured pregnancy after pregnancy inside the palace walls, and that her young daughter died, a death she blamed on the palace itself. She decided she would rather have nothing than go back. She told a lawyer she would rather drown herself in the sea than return to the Maharaja. So when she was ordered to travel to meet him, she slipped off the train at Delhi and vanished into British India. Through Delhi, through Amritsar, she ran until she reached the one city big enough to hide in, Bombay. In Bombay, she found a protector, Abdul Kader. He was 25 and already one of the richest men in the city, a merchant's heir and an elected member of the Bombay Corporation. He took her in, and before long, she was carrying his child. The Maharaja wanted her back. His men came to Bombay with a warning: give her up or face the consequences. Bawla refused. On the 10th of January 1925, a party of men from Indore quietly arrived in the city. 2 days later, they were waiting on Malabar Hill. That evening, Bawla took Mumtaz for a drive up Gibbs Road toward the Hanging Gardens. The red Maxwell blocked their path. The men closed in. Their goal was to seize her, and one of them slashed her face again and again. Bawla threw himself over her. He was shot more than once. And then came the accident of history that changed everything. A group of British officers, Colonel Vickery and 3 young lieutenants, were passing by on their way back from golf. They ran in, swinging golf clubs at armed men. One lieutenant, Sigert, was shot and stabbed, and still dragged an attacker to the ground and held him there. The gang scattered, but not all of them got away. Bawla died that night. Mumtaz survived, scarred but alive and willing to talk. 2 of the attackers were caught at the scene. That was the thread the Bombay police pulled, and it led straight to Indore. 9 men were put on trial in the Bombay High Court. Around 6 of them, it turned out, were in the service of the Indore state, a Risaldar of its mounted police, a captain of its forces, a general of its army. The courtroom filled with the biggest legal names of the age, including a young defense lawyer named Muhammad Ali Jinnah. 7 of the 9 were convicted. 3 were sentenced to hang. On the 19th of November, 1925, 2 of them went to the gallows. Every one of them was the Maharaja's man, but the Maharaja himself was not in the dock because a ruling prince could not be tried. Under British law, Tukojirao Holkar had immunity. No court in India could charge him, question him, or convict him. But the newspapers had no such rule. Across India and around the world, they named him the alleged mastermind behind the Malabar Hill murder. It was never proven. To this day, no court has ever found that the Maharaja ordered the killing. But the British could not have a ruling prince splashed across every front page as a murderer. So the Viceroy gave him a choice, the only kind of reckoning the system would allow. Face a public inquiry into your conduct, or give up your throne. On the 26th of February 1926, Tukojirao Holkar III abdicated. He handed the throne of Indore to his teenage son, on the understanding that the inquiry would be dropped and the questions would stop. He was never charged, never tried, never convicted. He simply gave up a kingdom so that no one would ever have to answer for the man dying in the street. Then he left India and never truly came back. The ex-king moved to France. In 1928, he married an American woman from Seattle and lived out his years far from Indore. He died in Paris. Mumtaz, the dancer whose freedom had cost so much, gave her testimony and then slipped out of the record. Some say she sailed for Hollywood. No one knows for sure. And the throne? It passed to his son, Yeshwant Rao. The boy handed a crown in the middle of a scandal, grew into something his father never was. He studied at Oxford. He built a palace of pure modern design and filled it with Le Corbusier and Brancusi. And in Paris, he sat for the photographer Man Ray, becoming one of the most iconic images of his age. The father was remembered as the king behind a murder, the son as the Maharaja on the artist's wall. So what did all that money and power finally buy Tukojirao Holkar? A fortune in diamonds, and a favorite he could not keep, a murder he could not hide, and a throne he could not save. He owned almost everything, and in the end, it owned him.